Hi, I'm Eddie Bromley, and this is the Book of Isaiah in 5 minutes, Part 1.
Hi, I'm Eddie Bromley, and this is a new series on the book of Isaiah. I'm preparing a Bible study for the spring for my own church, and so I'm making some of this content available by video ahead of time for those that might want to look at it. And today we're going to begin looking at Isaiah, and we're going to be asking, who is Isaiah? Well, first of all, his name in Hebrew is Yeshayahu, which means God is salvation. He lived in the 8th century BCE, before Common Era, and what we mean by that is he lived sometime between the years 800 and 700 BC before Christ, or if you're in the scholarly, before the Common Era. Now, here's some things that we know about Isaiah. First of all, he was probably from an aristocratic family, and probably even from the extended royal family. Here's why we know that. First of all, he had unusual access to the royal family, including the king. And he had access to them in a way that would have been unusual even for some of the higher strata of society. Secondly, he had a lot of information about foreign and domestic affairs. He knew a lot about what was going on and how decisions were being made in the corridors of power. And so we have a good reason to suspect that his family was well placed and probably even part of the extended family. Now, some scholars think that he was from a priestly family. That seems unusual and it seems unlikely. Here's why. The only evidence that we have that he could have been part of a priestly family is that he knew a lot about how public worship worked and that he was in the temple when God called him to be a prophet. That's not a lot of evidence, and not evidence that really would have marked him out for being very different from a lot of Jewish people. Now, we know that Isaiah was called to be a prophet about the same time that the Assyrian Empire was becoming a danger and a risk to Israel and its neighbors. Assyria was beginning to press forward and westward and beginning to encroach on the territories of Israel and her neighbors. And this is about the same time that Isaiah is called into the prophetic ministry. Now, that said, here's something else that we probably know about Isaiah. He is probably from a family that has a strong heritage and tradition of having members of its family serve as prophets. Here's why we think that. First of all, Isaiah is well versed in the prophetic tradition. He's articulate, he knows the ideas, he's well versed, he echoes a lot of the thoughts of the prophetic tradition. Secondly, he's married to a woman who's a prophet. They, in the book of Isaiah, call her a prophetess. So his wife also serves as a prophet. And then they have at least 2 children who play at least a limited role in their prophetic ministry. And so it is likely that Isaiah is from a family where a lot of its members have served in the role of a prophet. We also know that Isaiah served at a time when 3 other high-profile prophets were working. Those were Amos, Hosea, and Micah. Now, we don't have any real evidence that these 4 men knew one another, but it is interesting that Amos and Isaiah use very similar lines of argument. The key difference being is that Amos was working primarily with the audience of the northern kingdom Israel, and the primary audience for Isaiah was the southern kingdom of Judah. Otherwise, their work is very similar in a lot of ways. Because of an ancient book that we have that's outside the Bible, we know something about how Isaiah's life came to an end. The book is entitled The Martyrdom and Ascension of Isaiah. It was probably written in the 1st century, but it's recording a story and a legend that's much older. Now, the only full copy we have in an ancient version is in Ethiopian, but we have fragments of it in Syriac, in Greek, and in Latin, and the linguistic patterns show us that it was probably first written in Hebrew. Now, a lot of changes have happened to that document, but the essence of what it gives to us historically is that King Manasseh and Isaiah were 2 men who had a lot of animosity toward each other, and that tension continued to build until eventually King Manasseh had Isaiah arrested, and then sawn in half. And those stories have made their way into a number of sources: the Jerusalem Talmud, the Babylonian Talmud, the book of Hebrews in the New Testament, and several of the patristic writers. And so we know that Isaiah not only served faithfully as a prophet, but that his life ended with him giving his life as a martyr. I'm Ed A. Bromley, and I'll see you back next time.
If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe.